Have you ever eaten something and you felt energized yet depleted? That's the difference between fuel versus nourishment. And the same goes with people. I'm Tina B, and I'm an intuitive communication coach. And today I want to explore this concept of how you can be a lot more magnetic when you tap into spaces, places, people, experiences that are nourishing versus pushing for that fuel. And I love using the analogy of food because all of us have to eat to live. And this leads me into exploring. First of all, I'm going to define the difference between the two, give some examples, then lean into some stories and provide tips for you to be a lot more magnetic. So, first of all, let's look at the idea of fuel. Fuel is known as a function. So, how many of you have woken up in the morning and you just feel like that heaviness, that tired? I know I've been there before. And what do we do to fuel, perk us up, maybe have caffeine or coffee? That is one function that it provides for us, that quick stimulant, that boost. The other thing is think of fuel as more of that quick calories when it comes to our body. Like, okay, I'm in that afternoon slump. Some people go grab a pop, soda, candy to get that that boost. And it does so for a little bit. And then the I call it the witching hour, the crash happens. When we think of fuel in terms of peopling, and it's knowing your energetic frequency, what is meaningful for you, what feels good inside of your body that you're like, it's like a breath of fresh air. Or it's like, ooh, this jazzes me up as opposed to, cringy. I don't enjoy this. I think of fueling experiences as highly transactional, like that bam, 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 bam. Some of those networking events that I've been to virtually where it's like, okay, you have 30 seconds, go, 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 the popcorn really, really fast. And I leave feeling more empty than ever before because I didn't get an opportunity to really catch the person's name, catch what they're about, what do they need, how can we support, yada, yada. It just was too fast. It was like a popcorn experience, like same with going in person, where maybe there's 50 plus people, lots of energies in the room, lots of noise, clinging, clanging, and all of that. And all of a sudden, people are, very much on mission based to tell people about themselves, their business, and beyond. And that can be overwhelming. And it's leaning into what is the best space environment or people that you enjoy being around. So contrast that fueling kind of vibe and energy of the to nourishment. And nourishment, unlike fuel that can keep you going, but it's like the highs are high and the lows can crash low. You want to feel deeper in your nervous system. And so nourishment is much more of a support. This is when you think of your nervous system safety. It's when you have that grounded clarity, when you feel a lot more creative, when you are communicative with what your needs and wants are, not only from a personal standpoint in those interpersonal relationships, but also professionally with your life's work. And I found this to be really beautiful when we get the one-on-ones. I love one-on-one, in person, the best. I've been doing walks and talks with people, and I try to space them out. I don't like five in a row because then that starts to get that popcorn fueling energy of, okay, I got to meet like 15 plus connections today. I'm just one of those that does not work for. Now, other people, that jazzes them up. And so it's you being in the inner knowing if that's more of a fueling type of thing or a nourishment. And nourishment for me is the one-on-one where I feel one person's energy at a time, or if it's more of an intimate, in-person, immersive experience where I'm facilitating, like in the case a week or so ago, I was able to support farmers telling their stories, and I got to create that safe container. They got to share stories and ask questions, and it was very rich. It was not thousands of people like Tony Robbins. He loves that. He busts a move on stage and that brightens his light. Now, don't get me wrong, I can do that and I can freestyle rap till the cows come home and have a playful experience in a keynote or MC container. And I need to, once that is done, have rest and digest time. So everybody paces differently. So it's feeling that ebbs and flows of, are you more of an in-person, virtual, one-on-one, small group? What does that look like for you? And how do you prepare for that as a professional that you are? So think of it this way. Having a deeply supportive conversation can nourish you. If you are talking to a mentor and you have questions, or a supportive business coach or spiritual guide, it also can be where you get outside in nature and you get that time to reflect on your business and creativity. It can also look like meaningful collaboration, a partnership where you're like, ooh, this idea, that idea, this idea. So think of it as the kind of food that you eat. In my case, things that grow in the ground. And I have a beautiful quinoa kale salad bowl that's rich with vegetables and an inspired salad dressing with pepitas and all of that. And it's got all the things, healthy fats, protein, sweet, salty, spicy, all that. That nourishes me. It fuels me in a positive way. So think of it this way. If you've ever had two meetings in one day, which I have, one can be fueling and one can be more nourishing. And I've found when I had one time a meeting that was virtual and it was with people I didn't know. I just knew the facilitator, and it was an hour that felt like forever because it was people would talk on and the pace, and it just didn't have a fluency to it that felt nourishing to me. And there's something to be said about when you don't feel seen, heard, or valued in a space, whether it's virtual or in person, the experience can feel long and drawn out. It can feel heavy, or it can feel like you're bored. You get that disconnection, and your body tells you that. Like I started shutting down. uh, I I was so quick to get out of there and was grateful to hit end on the Zoom. Now contrast that with later in the day when I got to meet with someone for coffee and get to connect, have that conversation. Very different experience. Or when I was in a small group, and it was, again, I love in person. Virtual can be great, but the space that energizes me most, that I can really tune into nonverbal cues and energetic frequency, is in person. So know that about yourself. This is the difference between is one can give you information and that can be the fueling space. The other gives you life where it lights you up. And that brings me to my last point is how do you be more magnetic in your world of work? And it comes from really grounding your nervous system. And this is where you have to first ask yourself, what nourishes me from a state of being, like physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of that as the person that I am before I show up to any form of communicative event. For me, physically, I love, love, love to get my body in motion first thing in the morning as well as throughout the day. So I love walking outside when it's beautiful, get that sun beating on my body. I also value lots and lots of hydration and water. That's just great for anybody. And then really great, satiating, healthy foods that are those healthy fats and proteins, etc., with the fiber. And that's all important for your personhood. Then there's the emotional, spiritual, mental space. I love listening to really fun music to get my energy up and into that vibe. I love reading and learning from certain podcasts so that I can feel into the information and be able to extrapolate what's important and guide people into their greatness from what I learn. I also love playfully freestyle rap and improv musical vibey kind of experiences with people on stages and places. And that way I also create watercolor intuitive haikus for people. That's fun for me. What is your creative expression that really nourishes you from a mental, spiritual, emotional standpoint? And note how much connection you need with other people. And this is where do you charge your batteries? And I know that I fluctuate and I'm more of what I'd call an ambivert, where I absolutely need that reflection alone time so that I can be grounded with people. So the first is awareness of what do you need physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of that. From there, it's then really creating what I call love gate boundaries and noting because I need these things, I really have to have a space and contained way of doing them. And when I organize my business, I really look at my Mondays are my visioning time. I'm very sacred about that. My end of week Fridays are, okay, what am I going to do for the next week, as well as finances? My Thursdays are more networking, and Tuesday, Wednesdays are more of my clients. And then, of course, I pepper in my immersive experiences virtually in person as those come. And it's a pace and a cadence that breathes, and that you have that plan, that structure, that blueprint in place, and you stick to it. So if someone calls during your work hours, you let it go to voicemail and you don't interrupt your flow. You call them back when it is of good time for you. And I think of this too, it's also making choices. So think of it from an energetic frequency. We have a lot of chakras. If you've heard of that, it's the Chinese way of looking at the seven primary points. And the third level is your solar plexus, where it's your courage, your inner willpower and strength of confidence, like feeling confident. And you cannot feel confident if you're not taking care of yourself, if you don't know what those needs and wants are, and you don't express them through your words and staying and maintaining your boundaries. That is the key, so that you can then therefore show up in grounded presence. And that is essential. Like tomorrow, I have this huge, exciting opportunity on a main stage to freestyle for a women's beautiful leadership conference. And I know that I'm going to need to go to bed early tonight, get up early, have my morning routine, which is journaling, connecting with my guides and having that meditative practice. And then, moving my body, getting there with plenty of time to kind of check out the space, feel into the energy, and just, practice today. So I'm ready to be ready and wear the purple vibe. So I'm putting on my power, right? So that people feel that. The last piece, after you acknowledge what your needs and wants are, you then create the boundaries, is the third is really make those choices. This is essential. Choose the environments to put your place in, the kinds of conversations and people you circle yourself with, because it's that I call it my sparkle sphere. What kinds of energetic frequencies I want in that orbit within my day and moment, and what kind of rhythmic pattern I want to feel into. For me, it's not a rapid da, 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 da. Some people work in that way, whether they're into sales and they love doing 20 calls, outbound calls a day. That just is not my human design. I'm much more have emotional rhythm. I love to guide people into their greatness. And so the rest is important. The play is important. The alone time is important. So I have that grounded awareness to guide people. And so know that and make those choices, and then you will feel nourished. So as we lean into closing of today, remember that a calm body equals very clear, confident communication. That's your nervous system, right? And I'd love to do a little freestyle, if you will, on the word nourish, because we want to choose nourishment over fuel. So let me create a rhythm for you. You will flourish if you choose to nourish. You will flourish if you choose to nourish. Don't get skirmish. Let's nourish. There's this thing, fuel. It can cause you to feel so cruel, and then you drool because you want the rules. No, you got to go slow, because then you'll grow. Hey, it's a choice to nourish, you'll flourish. Then you will furnish the things that you will nourish. You won't get churlish. Hey, 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 nourish. And with that being said, if you want to be magnetic, the key here is all about groundedness, awareness, and choosing in the moment, day by day, week by week, minute by minute, nourishing activities. And resting is an activity, and being around certain places and environments and people and rhythmic patterns all matter. because that's how you show up in your communication. Because when you choose nourishment, you will have magnetic presence. I would love to connect with you. And if you found this video interesting, helpful in any way, I want to extend an invitation to reach out to me on tinab.com. That's Tina, B as in boy, E.com, because it is a being. It's how you be in terms of your intuitive listening to your body, your speaking, your leadership. And I want you to ask me questions and get my beautiful 3-part freebie that leans into your mindset, your message, and mechanics. So till then, my friends, remember to be you and be true. That is your magic, and that is magnetic.